Hey guys, hi everyone, and welcome to today's stream. We are going to talk about the difference between a data warehouse developer and an ETL developer. And the reason I have chosen the topic for today's YouTube Live is that during our recent webinar, one of the fellow recruiters asked about this particular role. So what's the difference between a data warehouse developer and an ETL developer? And specifically, what kind of skills are important for either of these? Okay, so that's the topic for today's video. I hope you will like it. Let me know in comments. I read all the comments, so just let me know how do you enjoy it and what other roles would you like me to focus on next in the next video. Okay, so I have prepared for you slide, so let's jump on it right now. And we are now looking at an imaginary bank or some corporation, and in the corporation they normally would have different systems. For example, this is one system, and the system may be, for example, mortgages. Okay, mortgages with a dedicated Scrum team, as you can see right here. So there may be 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 people involved in this particular technical system to develop mortgages. And then there may be another team dedicated to, say, internet banking solution. So a Scrum team that would consist of a backend developer or a front-end developer or a product owner, a designer, etc. Right? Like this would be a dedicated Scrum team. They will only work on this particular area. Another team would be focused only on B2B loans. Again, we are now focused only on technical positions, right? So the Scrum team would consist of different IT professionals. And now, why is this all important? Well, because all these are standalone systems, and you can see this icon is actually an icon of a database. So all these systems, and in a real bank there would be many more transaction systems, many more productions systems. So all these would collect data, primary data about customers, about products being sold. And now imagine in every bank, in every corporation, there is a management team that consists of people who are concerned about the performance, and these guys would like to see how these primary systems work with clients, work with products or sell products, right? So they are usually looking for some centralized data storage, and this is what we call a data warehouse. You can see it here on the right hand side. So this is the data storage, so-called data warehouse. Okay, so what usually happens is there are different pipelines. These are the pipelines. So this is pipeline number 4, this is pipeline number 3, this is pipeline number 2, and pipeline number 1. So from each primary system, data needs to be transferred to the target system, which is the data warehouse. Okay, so I'll write it here. So this is the source, and this is the target system. Okay, source system and target system. Both source systems have some data, and target system needs to also collect data, and usually in an aggregated way. Now, what do I mean by aggregated way? Imagine there is a client right here, and the same client may also buy some loan right here. So in the target system, they only want to see the person sort of unified and somehow identify that the same person is here and also here, right? And the same person purchased 2 different products within the bank and different services in the bank. Okay, so for this purpose they need to transfer the data in order for the management team to be happy and see some nice reports and charts, right? Tables and colorful charts, etc. So now the question is how is the data migrated? Well, for that purpose, usually there is a process called ETL. So the ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. So extract data from primary source, that's the E, Then transform means to do something with the data, and load means, hey, load the data to the target system. So that's the ETL, extract, transform, and load. And the data is usually loaded to this database. This is the database with lots of tables, lots of smaller databases, lots of data storages. You can imagine it as a folder with hundreds of Excel files. But these are not Excel files, but rather some more advanced data storages. Okay, so that's the ETL. It's a process that takes data from the primary system, transforms data, and loads data to the target system. And you may now ask, hey, but what kind of transformation is happening? Well, imagine these systems, say this system right here, stores data, say about the date, say the birth date in a form, say February 14, and then the year, right? This would be the standard format. But in this other database, they may store it as 02, 14, 1980, right? This could be the format. So in this database, in the target database, they may want to have it in, say, 1980, 02, 14, right? Like they may have different desired format, and that's why the data needs to be transformed, because pretty much, you know, that's the same. This February 14, 2020 is essentially the same, or not 2020, like obviously the year would be like different, but the format tells us pretty much the same, whether we write it as a February 14, 1980 or 02, 14, 1980, right? And also here we can see pretty much the same, 1980, or dash 02 dash 14. So that's the transformation. And now the important question is, who is the ETL developer? Well, the ETL developer is someone who creates these pipelines, which it's just like some software code that gets data, transforms data, and stores data in some other database. So that's the ETL developer. ETL developer is someone who takes care of all these data pipelines from one data source to the data target database, from the mortgages system to the data warehouse, from the internet banking primary system to the data warehouse, from the B2B loans to the data warehouse. And then the question is, who is the data warehouse developer? You may ask, and the answer is pretty simple. It is someone who develops the data warehouse, but the person may also often just create the pipelines, the ETL pipelines. So, you know, like the data warehouse is just empty database, and they need to somehow fill it with data. So that's what data warehouse developers or ETL developers do. This may in fact be just one person who takes care of this all, both the structure of the database, and also he or she may take care of filling in it with data. Okay, so you know the conclusion could be that the data warehouse developer is pretty much the same person as a data warehouse developer. So ETL developer or a data warehouse developer, it's pretty much the same person. And obviously there are many more IT roles within the data landscape. There is, for example, database administrator. So this is a professional who takes care of the database. Okay, so that's the professional who just administers the database. Someone to make sure that the database as a server is replicated and it performs well, and you know, there are no outages, right? Or they could be, for example, someone such as a data analyst, a person here, you know, that's the data analyst, or a business intelligence analyst. You know, these are people who analyze data, or data scientists. And this actually reminds me, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me now in the live chat, because I'm streaming this live on YouTube, so you can ask me and I can answer your question right now. So feel free to ask if you have any question related to these IT roles, related to the data landscape. But meanwhile, what I would like to also show you is another slide with some of the tools used for data warehousing. So I would categorize these tools to just two categories on a really high level: corporate paid or free open source. So as you can see right here, these are corporate and these are open source free. These tools are usually very expensive, the corporate tools. So as an example, Microsoft has created the SQL Server integration services. Oracle has created the database, or Teradata has created a huge database. It's right here, or Microsoft here, Oracle, Amazon Redshift. This is a cloud database, also quite popular these days. IBM DataStage, Informatica, Power Center, Google BigQuery. You know, so some of these are on premise, some of these are on the cloud. For the sake of this discussion, it doesn't matter much, just for you to know that some tools are paid and corporate and some tools are free. And then, I went to another slide, sorry. And just keep in mind that these are just tools. This is just the data storage. So it's like Microsoft Excel versus on Mac, we have numbers, you know, Mac numbers, or what is it called? Just numbers. So these are also just tools, and developers usually can work with sort of any of these tools, or they can learn. Say if an ETL developer has been working with Oracle, well, then he or she can relatively easily use Informatica or Teradata, because they both use SQL, they use PL, SQL in many cases, which is some sort of an extension of SQL. So just keep this in mind. These are just tools, and developers can use one tool or another. They can just learn a tool on the go. So when I interview data specialists, I usually focus on their additional skills. You know, how aware are they of the whole ETL process, of the pipeline? Not exactly like which tool have they used or mastered, but if they are aware of the whole ETL best practices, or like, for example, here we can see experience in SQL programming. Like, that's very basic skill, because SQL is just a query language. It's relatively easy. But what else? Like, I would rather focus on say the use of PL SQL, which is the more advanced version of SQL. It's a programming language used exactly to develop some of these pipelines: ETL, extract, transform, and load pipelines. Okay, so if you are watching right now and you wonder where to get some of these mind maps, well, I have actually created this booklet with over 25, maybe almost 30 mind maps by now. So you can get the whole booklet either shipped, as you can see it right now, or you can get it in a PDF, whatever you prefer. And there are these beautiful mind maps, colorful, so you can use these mind maps before your call with a hiring manager or before a call with your potential candidate. So this is here to help you if you would like to get better at sourcing IT professionals, some of the data related roles, or if you just in general would like to understand the IT landscape, then I have also created this book. It's called the IT Talents Book. So this is what I call a headhunter's playbook for finding, matching, and recruiting IT candidates. So if you would like to level up your recruitment game, you can also get this as a PDF in our shop at Gig Recruiters. You can just go there and get this book or the mind maps. So these materials are here to support you on the recruitment journey. And yeah, I'm also training. When I say recruitment, it always reminds me that I'm also training sales professionals. So if you are also sort of interacting with your clients, well then we may also look at how could we personalize the training for you specifically. Because you know, when I deliver training for recruiters, we usually focus on how to screen candidates, how to engage with candidates, how to source candidates. But the training program for sales teams, for teams or for individuals who are in touch with clients, it's slightly different, still covers a lot of these IT roles and the terminology, but we usually look at slightly different use case, which is how to engage with clients, how to analyze their needs and job requirements. Okay, so if you would like to explore this, you can also just check my website, michaliuhas.com. I'll link it below this video, so you can just open it up and get some of these materials that are free, like some brochure or information about the program. And I would be thrilled to organize such training for your team. So yeah, just let me know should you have any need and you see how the IT knowledge could boost your team's performance. Okay, so with that, I'll wrap it up, unless you guys have any question. If you have after I finish this, then just let me know in comments. And let me know in comments how you like this, this video. It's been recorded live, so I can record more of these. If you want me to, just let me know in comments. And for now, have a wonderful day, everyone.